Hi, everyone. Pleasure to be here in this Saturday morning. And my name is Natalie. I think Verona introduced me a little bit in the chat. Today, I'm going to share with you on how to evaluate. And this is my contact. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on YouTube, or email, then you can contact me after this. So let's go straight into it because I only got like 10 to 12 minutes. Today's agenda will be divided into three parts. And obviously, after this presentation, it will give you a bit of idea on how to evaluate. I will not like an instant great evaluator because everything takes practice, but at least today is the first step for you to be able to evaluate better. So let's go to the first one, the mindset. Evaluation is a gift from evaluator to the speaker. Oftentimes, when we talk about evaluating or giving feedback, the connotation is very negative. We thought, oh, I need to criticize someone. Oh, I need to point out some things that they need to improve on, and that's it. My good friend in Toastmaster, Alicia Curtis, said this to me. Evaluation is a gift, Natalie, from the evaluator to the speaker, because when we give a gift to someone, it also makes us happy. I still remember the first time I did my speech in Toastmasters. It was, I think, 11 years ago in Australia in my last semester in university. I did my speech with just a very plain story. I just stand in front of the lectern. I bring my handwritten notes, and I didn't think that I did such a great job. In fact, I thought it was bad. But then the evaluator said, "Hey, Natalie, I really appreciate your courage to step up onto the stage and share your story. It's not easy. And I believe that you will have more to share and you have more potentials to develop." And I thought, oh, I I did that. I I have that. And then I started to gain a little bit of confidence to do my next speeches. And from then on, I thought, if you think that evaluation is like a gift that you can give to the speaker to impart confidence, to help them develop their skill, then you're on the right track. In turns, it will help you as an evaluator to hone your skill. Because when we're evaluating, we need to hone our listening skill. We need to hone our analytical skill and also our speaking and presentation skill. So it's a gift that keeps giving. When I evaluate, I go by this code. I help you. It's an acronym. So the H is I want to help the speaker improve. And then I want to encourage the speaker to do their next speech. And after that, I want to lift the speaker's self-esteem because sometimes our capabilities are limited, our vocabularies or our English speaking skill are not that good yet. But if we are confident, then we can convey the message to the audience. And last but not least, we want to provide useful recommendations that the speakers can apply in their next speeches. So remember, when you're evaluating, you're helping someone else, and in turn, you will also get help. And after that, we started to think, but Miss Natalie, what can I evaluate on? What are some points that I need to focus on? Before we go into that, let's be on the same page about advice and feedback. From the 6 sentences, which one do you think is an advice? Let me just point out some of the names of the speech crafter. Paula Aprianto. Hi, Paula.
Hi.
Hi. Which one do you think is the advice among these 6 sentences?
The advice, I think
You
I
can just pick one.
I think it's you need to improve your eye contact.
You need to improve your. What do you think it's an advice?
I think that's an advice because it has some sort of evaluation behind this sentence because like advice is, I think, like coming back from an evaluation, and also it's meant to put you it is meant to have like a constructive criticism towards
Oh,
whatever your speech is.
okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. One more, just quickly say which one. Brian Susanto.
Think about I noticed that your body swayed during the speech.
Mhm. Do you think
Um,
that's an advice or a feedback?
it's maybe for the feedbacks. It's
For the
just like
feedback.
mhm, for the feedback.
Okay. Thank you very much. So we have an example of advice from Paula and an example of feedback from Brian. Now I want we all to be on the same page first, because this is like the language or the foundational knowledge that we will use going forward. Sorry. So the advice is the one on the red and the feedback is the one on the blue. Let me share with you the difference. Advice usually comes from personal opinion. Feedback, in this sense, comes from observation. Basically, when we see something, when we hear something, when we feel something, that's an observation. Advice usually use the you word or the don't or do this or do that. For example, you need to raise your volume. You need to improve your eye contact. You need to do this and that. Or, hey, Gusti, don't be stressed. Gusti, don't forget to introduce the edu speaker next time. So those are advices. Sorry, Gusti. And the feedback means that you're distancing yourself from your personal opinion and basing your feedback or evaluation on the observation. I saw that, which means that was what happened before. The speaker were averting his eyes everywhere. I saw that you were averting your eyes from this side to that side. I noticed that your body swayed a lot during your speech. I had trouble hearing you. So those are the difference between advice and feedback. And in Toastmasters, we want our evaluation based on feedback, because making our evaluation based on feedback help to create a more objective evaluation that is not based on our personal opinion, but based on real observation. All good so far? Yeah? Awesome. Now, what should I look in a speech? I split it into three main areas. I call it content, organization, and delivery. For all of the online shoppers, this is not cash on delivery, yeah, but it's just easier to remember this way: content, organization, and delivery. So let's go first on the content. So the content is basically what you write on your speech. It started with what is the topic that you want to speak on this speech. It could be about the PR strategies, like what the previous speaker has shared, or it could be about like your childhood memories. It could be about many kind of things. You decide the topic, but make sure the topic suits your audience. Otherwise, there will be a gap between you and the audience. Next is the purpose. What do you intend to do with this speech to the audience? For example, do you intend to just inform them about something, or do you want to inspire them to do something, or do you just want to entertain them? My session today, the purpose of my session today is to inform you on how to evaluate. And if I can encourage you to do your next evaluation better, that's a bonus. Next is the idea or message. The idea or message is one sentences that you want your audience to remember even after the presentation. So for example, for my edu session, if you can remember just one thing, let's say evaluation is a gift from the speaker to from the evaluator to the speaker and vice versa. That's it. At least you remember the mindset, and then the rest will follow through. And last, make sure to have story or illustration, because human brains are wired for story. And if we have some illustration to explain the points, it's easier for us to remember and to understand. Next is the organization. I think last week you have been presented on how to structure your speech. So there are 3 things that we can look at when structuring our speech: the opening, the body, and also the closing or the conclusion. Having a structure is crucial because without a solid structure, your presentation will lack clarity and impact. So look at the opening that are, for example, is it engaging? Is it interesting? Do I feel hooked when looking at that presentation? Also, look at the body that has clear points that you can remember. For the closing, does it has like summary if your presentation is informational? Does it inspire you to do something? It has call to action at the end. So look at those points when you evaluate someone. The vocal variety, which basically means, this is a big word, but it basically means the vocal dynamics. Is there any differences when you speak? For example, the volume or the power. Is there any differences in the speed of your speaking, like the pacing or the pitch or the high and low notes of your vocal articulation? Is there any pauses in between the most important points so you can emphasize the points? So those are like the vocal variety things that you can look at. And last but not least is the body language. Do speaker have a good eye contact with the audience? The hand gesture illustrate the points? The facial expression also match the points that are being said, and the body position or movement are not distracting, but supporting the points. So look at those things that you can directly observe. And last but not least is the application. How to put what you have known into a simple method. I call it ID method. First, you need to identify areas for improvement. And this is basically for the recommendation that you need to give in your Toastmasters evaluation. Based on your observation, you see that, oh, the speaker might need to improve on this. That's the I. And then the D is define strategies to reach that goal, which means that you can suggest practical recommendation. An example is the observation is that the speaker look upward and downward and not directly into the audience. So you see there is an issue of the eye contact. So you can suggest the area of improvement first. Identify area of improvement first. Let's say if the speaker is Susie. Susie, I noticed that you were averting your eyes from the audience. And then you suggest recommendation. One technique that I have tried is to think of the room as an individual instead of one group and look at each individual person for a few seconds before moving on to the next person. So this is like the I and then the D. I wanted to try like an exercise, but we're gonna skip it. So how you can deliver your evaluation. You will have 2 to 3 minutes in Toastmasters, and you need to prepare your sandwich. This is the method that we use a lot in Toastmaster, which means that in the beginning, you need to open with a soft breath, or you need to open with positive observation, what the speaker did well. Maybe the speaker did well on the opening or on the hand gestures. You can say, Toastmaster Gayatri, I notice that you demonstrate an excellent hand gestures. It really illustrates your points. So that's the positive observation. And then give 2 or 3 points of the positive observation before you move on to the protein or the teaching point, the recommendation. Pick 2 or 3 teaching points that you can share with the speaker as well. Let's say Toastmaster Yusuf Chandra, I observed that your hand gestures were quite distracting, and I will suggest to make your hand gesture more purposeful by making sure that your hand gesture illustrate the points that you're trying to convey. So that's like focusing really on the points, the I, identify the areas of improvement, and the D, define the strategies or suggest recommendation. Remember, 2 to 3 points of commendation and 2 to 3 points of recommendation. Do not go beyond 3 points. Why? Because our time is limited and Our brain is also limited. So make sure to stick to that 2 to 3 points. And last but not least, you can also close with something encouraging. Also, you can give some summary so that the speaker can refresh their mind and remember the points again. So at the closing, you can say, Toastmaster Adrian, that was an inspirational speech, and I love this point, that point, and that point. When you improve on point A, point B, I believe it can be even more inspirational. That's it. I know my time is up, but let me close with this. A quote from Dr. Ralph C. Smedley, the founder of Toastmasters International. No Toastmasters Club is fulfilling its obligation to its members unless it brings them the maximum of training in the art of constructive criticism. So don't worry, when you're trying your first evaluation, you will learn, you will make mistake, but keep going because evaluation is a gift for others and for yourself.